You're tuning in to Pasture Prime,
A show powered by Squad Locker.
Here are your hosts, retired Astros minor league star Tip Fairchild and former Patriots All-Pro center Dan Comin.
Welcome to the show, Pasture Prime, coming at you. You like when I do that?
Every time, say
right.
coming at you.
Coming at you. Happy 2021.
Yep, we're out of 2020. It's all behind. It's in the rear view mirror. Hindsight is 2020.
And this is the only year
It's the only time that you can say it. Yeah. It's the only time that
Although
you can say it.
I say it on the golf course all the time.
That's right. You can say it right now, and it actually counts.
How was New Year's?
New Year's, it was different. It was calm. I watched a comedy show online instead of doing anything necessarily like out, and I'm assuming you probably did the same type of thing.
Unfortunately, my kids wanted to stay up till midnight, though.
Oh, we didn't have to do that.
Your kids are a little bit younger. You know, some of the we were watching some of the programs. You know, Fox and
they were interesting this year.
And then Seacrest with the Clarks, New Year's Eve. They were horrendous.
Yeah, it was a really tough year for performances.
It was bad.
And it was just, dead because there's nobody there. So it's no pizzazz to the whole thing.
So if you can you can get those people, and sometimes that takes away from how bad the show is. Some of those shows were really, really bad. And that was actually kind of funny to watch. That made staying up till midnight a little bit easier. Any New Year's resolutions?
Well, there's a big weight loss.
Oh, I know,
because
we
haven't weighed in, and we're getting
your cheeks are looking kind of puffy.
Getting a little puffy, and the Peloton is in this week, I think, from what I'm hearing from the delivery schedule. So hopefully that's here. But you know what? I went and ordered food, and picked up food, and
that's a resolution.
Nope, it's not a resolution. But
you're going to refuse.
I'm on a mission right now to help support small businesses.
Okay.
And I can't do a ton, but what I can do is buy gift cards, buy food, go pick it up, bring it in. Like, buy a shirt. I got a shirt on this time. This is from Angelo's up on Federal Hill in Providence. Yep. Eat more pasta.
That's good.
Buy a T-shirt when you're in there.
Right.
So what I'm even telling listeners here is don't send us anything. I want to go send us a website that we can go buy a shirt. Because I want to buy some shirts. I want to this is like some pure profit type stuff potentially. They cost them a couple bucks to do it, but then let us buy these things because I think these shirts are cool too.
No, plus, I like that. And
eat more pasta.
It fits your profile.
It's perfect profile for me.
It fits your profile.
Great. Yeah,
it's a great shirt.
Yeah, great shirt. So
it's important. You know what? That's a good New Year's resolution.
I think so.
I'm not a big resolution guy. Obviously, the weight thing isn't ever.
That's life.
It never,
that's a life
it never
resolution.
ends. It's like you said. Previously, I like it. I'm just playing for the tie.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully this week or this year we can maybe win a few more games than we lose.
We're gonna try.
But
we're gonna try.
I woke up on New Year's Day, 2021, and it was. I think people thought it was gonna be like a switch. Oh, it's a new year because 2020 sucked. It was the same hell we've been in the whole
slow
time.
Roll. It's a slow burn.
So I think after that, I'm going to try and be more optimistic. Mm-hmm. So it may not be better right now, but 2021 is going to be better, and I'm going to have a more optimistic attitude towards it.
You know who didn't win more times than they lost?
Who?
The New England Patriots.
Oh.
We're coming into football playoffs now.
Yep.
Here's what I've learned about football this year. Before we get to our interview, what's our interview?
Brandon Barnes.
We have Brandon Barnes coming on.
16 years in the minors and the majors, which is one hell of a run.
That's a long time.
He's a grinder, man.
And he is a grinder, and you'll see it's a great interview with him. And he retired, so we have some retirement stories coming up in this episode. But I tell you, playoff football's coming. Here's what I learned, Dan. If I played soccer, as we know. You need to have a good quarterback to do anything in the NFL.
That's why they get paid so much, huh?
You absolutely need. And now what I'm assuming is you need to have the next important thing is you need to have a big group of people that protect that person from being hurt.
Yeah.
Is probably number two.
Yeah, but the line wasn't the problem this year. Okay. I mean, the line had,
nice if
the line had to deal. Look, they had a lot of guys hurt in and out. COVID things, played a part in it too. Probably, I don't even know. The injuries definitely did, where you're switching guys in and out. So they got to get used to that. And when you're changing that up, that's a problem for offensive linemen. But the problem the offensive linemen had, they had a quarterback that couldn't throw the ball. So when you have a
really
defense,
tough to watch.
So when you have a defense that doesn't respect the passing game or the quarterback's arms, same thing. They know you're going to try and run the ball. So they're keyed in on one thing, and that makes that job of the offensive lineman that much harder. Not only couldn't the quarterback throw the ball, he didn't have anybody to throw the ball to.
I think
so. If you take
another
look,
major problem.
That's a major problem. The talent level that they had this year. Marquise Lee was a guy I think they signed last year from Jacksonville. He opted out, and the Jacoby Myers. Look, he's a good football player. He's a good route runner. He's got good hands. He's a good kid. I like him as a football player. I don't like him as a number one wide receiver. You know what I mean? He's more of a number three. So not having that quarterback, Cam Newton, said all the right things, did all the right things. Nothing against the guy. I actually like the guy more now than I did.
Same.
Than he was in Carolina, right?
Yep.
Because he did. He was a model citizen. He came in, he worked hard, showed up every day, didn't complain.
Couldn't sling it. Couldn't throw it.
Wasn't a me guy.
Yeah, couldn't throw it though.
But he couldn't play guy. He's not a play guy.
Yeah, exactly. We need the play guy.
So we
are they.
They. That's right. They.
We
I'm speaking more of a fan perspective now.
Okay, so we can say we then.
So they need a quarterback, whether it's a trade or rookie.
I want Matt Stafford.
I wouldn't.
I want Matt Stafford.
I like how
I'm putting it on the record.
Yeah.
Yep. So I just sit in the pocket and sling it, get some weapons. That's what's going to happen.
Would you go out and get Wentz?
Nope. And I'll tell you right now who's going to win the Super Bowl: the Buffalo Bills, because they have a guy that can throw it a mile over those mountains over there, like Uncle Rico.
Uncle Rico can do it.
So
no,
I like the Bills.
Buffalo is they're hot too. I think they've won like 10 straight. They are playing really well, both sides of the football. Josh Allen is a stud, and he's got a cannon.
He's not close to retiring, which is what we're about to talk to here. So
he's close to going to the bank.
Yeah, he's real close to going to the bank. So retirement comes up. We'll go to you first, Dan, on this, and then we'll talk about mine because I've got kind of a couple funny, good stories on this one. It's never easy. Did you pick to retire, or were you like, hey, I'm not getting another year? Like, how did that work in your case?
I was able to. It didn't go the way I wanted it to go. Usually it doesn't. There's very few that have that luxury where they can go out like an Elway, win 2 Super Bowls and then retire. Strahan did that too, I think, after he beat us one time. Which,
good way to go out.
It's not a bad way. I knew going into 2011 was my last year with the Pats. 2011, 2012 training camp. I got released. We can get into that if you want to.
Oh, that's where I'm going.
2012 signed with the Broncos after that, right? And then that was a 1-year deal, just to go quick. Off season, I thought there was. I mean, when free agency came around, there wasn't a lot of activity. For a 33-year-old guy. Got it.
That's how it happens. So There's not a lot of stir going on.
Free agency was a little dry early on.
A little light.
It was not a lot of activity. So I kind of resigned myself. All right, this is it. I'm done. 2013 spring, I'm done. Started to drop a little bit of weight, and then I got a call back from the Broncos. They had one of their linemen, center, had a setback in his recovery. So like, hey, you want to come back? I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll come back. I got to put the weight back on. That was not a fun thing to do. I tried to do
McDonald's?
I tried to do it the right way.
Hash browns?
I swear to God, I tried to do it the right way. I got, back in the gym, I'm eating peanut butter. I'm drinking, protein shakes all day long, and it's just not working. You know why it's not working? Because I wasn't doing the thing that I've always done.
Eat disgusting food.
And that's exactly what my wife said. She's like, you know what? When we were dating, or when we were married early on, you used to go to McDonald's or something and get a double cheeseburger or 2 double cheeseburgers before we went to dinner. I suggest you just go back to that.
You put it right on.
All right, so I'm going to go back to that. So I went back.
I'm begging for somebody to tell me the same thing right now.
It looks like someone's telling you the same thing.
Here we go.
There you go.
I'm the same weight.
So going into that 2013 year, I knew it. Like the kids were a little bit younger. We didn't want to keep moving them back and forth to different places. So I signed back on with the Broncos, knowing that last season was going to be my last. Unfortunately, the first day of training camp, or third or fourth day, first day of pads, first inside run drill, some guy came across, clipped my knee, and I blew my ACL. So that's how my career ended.
That was it. That was the last play?
That was
the last play.
That was my last play.
What was your last play in a game? Because then I'm going to hit mine, too, which is one of my
2012 divisional round, Denver Broncos versus the Baltimore Ravens. Do you remember the play, Hail Mary, Jacoby Jones, to tie up the game?
I do remember this. Yeah,
That was my last game.
That was your last game.
That was my last game.
Got it.
We lost in overtime. We went 14-2 or something like that, or 13-3. We were the number 1 seed.
Tough last thought.
Baltimore was coming in. We had the ball late. We got a first down. They ended up getting it back late. And this is they're 70 yards, 65 yards from the end zone. Let me tell you something, people. Coaches, players in that situation, I'm not pointing fingers, but if there is a last play situation, get GTFB. This is what Bill used to say a lot. You can guess what the F is.
Yeah.
Get the
back.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Don't let anybody get behind you.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So Jacoby Jones got behind somebody. They tie the game. We go to overtime. We lose. And
Tough last play for you.
It was
last game.
It was a tough last game.
So here's how it works in baseball. You ready?
I'm ready.
Because I like the release story that I have, and I also really like my last pitch story. Okay, so I knew that I was done after a season, 2009. I was like, I probably could go back, but it was just too, just getting the body ready between starts was already starting to be a chore. And I was like, oh, man, I mean, now I'm going into 150 games and doing it again. Yeah. It's it was starting to really get worn down. And the
married at this point?
Now, by the way, not married yet. Nope. The elbow was going, but guess what was firing on all cylinders? The brain. The old brain up here was ready to get into the business world. The old elbow was ready to leave the baseball world. So before that, though, I got released a couple years before that, and then I got re-signed by the Astros. So here's how they release you in the minor leagues for people that don't know, or in baseball in general for people that don't know. You get to this field every day, right? Usually for early work, 7 o'clock, something, breakfast, and go into the gym, do your thing before you have to get on the field during spring training. The clubbies are awesome there. They take care of you. The shoes are all done up. They got all your jerseys in the locker. That's and nice. In the minor league locker rooms for spring training, they're big locker rooms, right? So you have big areas and stalls. So there's maybe 40 guys in a section, and then down a little further there's another 40. And
so this is in the minor league training.
Yep. Okay. Yep. So there's 2 areas. It's all in the same facility. It was in Kissimmee, Florida. But this is how you get released. You walk in. And the people who get released that day, your jersey's just not in your locker. So you walk in, and the jerseys are, by the way, in front of the locker hanging up. So you see Fairchild, number 39. I was used to seeing it for 5 years.
It's on full display.
Oh, yeah. So you walk in, there's 40 jerseys in there, and then you just see your locker, and there's no jersey hanging in front of it anymore. You're like, oh, cool. Let me just sit here in front of this locker, waiting for them to call me into the player development office.
So that is just messed up.
That's how it works.
That's messed up.
So then I remember
Josh. So it's kind of like Major League with the red tag.
Almost identical, right? It's like the jersey is the red tag, basically.
Yep. That's messed up. I would rather have a red tag.
I would rather have a red tag.
Maybe some people will notice.
Grab your bag, just put your stuff in.
Quietly.
That's it. No, now you got to go have a conversation. Everybody knows this, so that's how that works. And then Josh Mickey, who's a good friend of mine, I remember him seeing me not have my jersey and be like, I'll wait for you when you get out. He still had his jersey there. And he's like, let me walk you out here, take care of your stuff, whatever. And I was just like, man, this sucks. This is not a fun situation. So that's how they do it, though, which is wild to me, right? The conversation's quick. Hey, you're a great guy, this, that, the other. There's no more spot.
I wish you the best of luck.
There's no more spot for you here. Not to say that you can't go catch on the whole 9 yards. That's kind of how it works. But that's how they do it in baseball. I think it's hilarious. Now, I've got a last pitch story though.
But football, they just tap you on the shoulder.
You go into the office.
Yeah, like the Turk, I guess is the term now or something like that.
Okay.
The Hard Knocks.
Yep.
The Baltimore Ravens, I think, were the first one, so they had a guy named Turk or whatever.
Yep.
So that's the nickname. So In football, we know who the Turk is, and right around cut time, you should see in that locker room when you're messing around. When he walks into the door, everybody just doesn't want to make eye contact with him. Yeah. I was lucky when I got released from the Pats. Mm-hmm. I had a nice little sign on the whiteboard when you walk in. Mm-hmm. Comin, see Scar. Mm-hmm. And as soon as that was up there, I was like, okay, well, at least they're not going to do the Turk to me.
Yep.
But I knew I was going in the Scar, and he was going to say, hey, we're going to release you.
Yep, that's a tough conversation. So,
and then you get to see Bill. That's even funner.
Did you see him on?
Oh yeah.
Oh, so he does it. He actually does it.
He does.
Well, Scar does it.
Scar's sort of like softened the landing.
Got it. And then Bill's like, just like, Aaron, nice to.
And then he gets on the phone.
Matt Lake does a better impression.
No, he definitely does. Bill, Comin's here. And he's like, okay, come on up. I was like, thanks for everything, but we're going to release you, and basically it makes you decide. Depends how long you've been there. Mm-hmm. And Brewski tells a great story. He's like, you could probably release you or whatever. Just basically gives them the option. Do you want to retire, or do you just want us to release you? So he gives you that option.
Yep.
I said
you had time left, so you were like, I'm not going to retire.
I was like, I'll think about it and I'll get back to you.
Got it.
So I had to go home
thought about it
a little bit. There wasn't much talking that day.
Yeah, I imagine. So I've got a last pitch story that's, I can remember this. This is like yesterday for me. Okay, so I get re-signed by Houston in 2009, and I go to Lancaster, California. No, was it Lancaster? Jethawks. Yeah, Lancaster.
There's a Lancaster.
We can fact check that, Max. Eventually,
there's a Lancaster,
I can't even remember. I played for so many teams, but I was literally in the middle of California. The Jethawks. We go on the road. We play the High Desert Mavericks, and the High Desert Mavericks. Let me tell you about this stadium. It is a launching pad. The Cal League, the California Baseball League. No, you don't even have to be able to rake to hit like 30 bombs up there. It's just there's literally a jet like engine that just blows over the top of that stadium. The ball flies there. Like if I hit batting practice there as a pitcher, I'm hitting bombs there. I'm hitting bombs there. Yeah. Like it's known. It's like the stats in that league, you have to like reduce them by like 40% because it's just outrageous. And then like ERAs are all way up because like guys just give up these like cheapies all the time. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm playing in this game. Joe Dunnigan. If Joe Dunnigan is listening to this, I'm sorry. Okay. Joe Dunnigan played for Oklahoma. I'm going to tag him. We're going to have to tag him in this. So probably had my number, right? Probably had my number in this thing. So I remember I'm pitching. I'm getting just shelled. That's a term for you.
I know that term.
Shelled. And pitching coach comes out, who was my pitching coach in rookie ball too. And he's just a great guy. Can't remember his first name, but comes out and he's like shooting the breeze with me, and he's like, "Hey, this is probably the last hitter." And I'm thinking in my mind like, last hitter for the game. It's the last game of the season, second to last game of the season. I was starting pitcher, so this is in like the fourth or fifth inning, maybe sixth inning. They might have left me out there to dry a little too long, and I'm like, okay, last hitter. All right, I got 2 outs. I'm like, okay, I can get this guy out probably. And I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to throw the ball as hard as I can one more time. I don't care where it really goes. I'm going to rear back, not think about anything, pretend I'm in like Little League again, no mechanics, no thought process, and I'm just going to let it rip. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Pitching coach goes back to the dugout. I'm like, all right, here it comes. This could be it for career right now. Lean back, let it fly, hit Joe Dunnigan right between the numbers on the back. And then here comes the manager out of the dugout. He's running down to first base. It was probably like 87, by the way. It was nothing special. He's going down to first base. Here comes the manager out of the dugout. He's like, all right, that's it. I go to the dugout, and I'm like, all right. I see the pitching coach again. I'm like, I think that might have been the last pitch I ever throw.
That's it.
Yeah, that was it.
Did you have an idea going into that? That was it?
Somewhat, just because I knew how my body was feeling, and I was like, I don't know if this is just like it's at the end of the year. I think it's just kind of like it's going to feel like this forever.
Do you think that coach knew you were done?
I think so.
This is it.
Oh, he knew I was done.
This is probably your last batter you'll ever face.
I'd already been in Double-A a couple of years, and this was High A. Let me tell you when he knew I was done. When I got assigned to that team. He's like, why is Fairchild back in A-ball right now? Like 2 years after double A. Like what's going on here?
You've graduated from here and now you're back.
Oh yeah, you're back, and I know that you're here to teach a lesson to some of the young guys, maybe. But I'm still thinking, man, I can kind of throw a little bit. But that was my last pitch. Joe Dunnigan apologized. I wasn't trying to hit him. Well, it was only,
honestly. I mean, look, I can't.
He didn't even. Let me tell you, Joe Dunnigan was ripped. He didn't feel this.
I can't throw 87. It's very hard to throw an 87 mile an hour fastball.
Yeah, it's very hard.
I'll give you that. It is hard, but to those guys, he probably didn't.
I might be under. I'm not giving myself enough credit. It was probably like 90, 91. But let me tell you what, though, Joe Dunnigan didn't feel it. We know that. So
maybe you can come on and.
We might have to try to tag him, Max. We might have to try to verify the story.
Max,
it's a verified. Trust me, it's a verified
verified.
story. I have been thinking about this forever.
My guess is he's just like Tip Fairchild. Who?
Oh, he won't know. Oh, he won't have any
Not a clue.
idea. Oh, he'll have no idea. Unless he's like, never know. Never know. Maybe he remembers because he's still got a bruise on his back from it.
I'm sure he does.
But Brandon Barnes coming up. Retirement story, it's a good story. He was a grinder for a long time, played all over the place too, and he just finished up. So he just finished up his career. So a lot like us, Dan. He's now he's I guess past our prime in the sports world, but he's got a big part of life coming up. And he gets to experience it with his family and everything. And we've got a good interview coming with him. So let's take it to the interview. Okay, past our prime show, we've got a California native, 6th round draft pick, Dan, by the Astros, 2005 draft. Some say best draft class ever.
-1.
That was my draft. Yeah.
-1.
Best draft class ever. Parts of 6 seasons, I think, in the MLB. Astros, Rockies, Cleveland Indians, actually changing their name now, though. Cleveland baseball team.
Cleveland baseball team now?
Played a season just overseas. He's going to get into that, though. Also, we've got a hit for the cycle out of this guy in the major leagues. So that's a big feat to have. We've got Brandon Barnes today. What's going on, buddy?
How we doing, guys? Excited to be here.
Excited to have you.
Yeah, excited to have you. Part of this, right? You want to cut in first?
No, well, I mean, I've been doing some background.
Oh, okay, I'm ready.
This guy.
I'm ready.
And just like the previous baseball player that we had before, Ryan Reed, this guy was going to go to UCLA as a free safety on a football scholarship. So I'm saying another baseball player. Brandon, was football your first love?
So baseball was actually my first love, but when I started playing football, because I started playing football around like 10, 11 years old. I started playing baseball at like 4. Mm-hmm. When I played football, there was just something different about it. Being a young kid, grew up in a rough neighborhood. I like to, take my aggression out, and ended up loving the game for what it was. You go in there and with a beast mentality to go just take down everybody out there, and that's what I loved about the game. I loved that I was able to just smoke somebody and not get in trouble.
Completely legal.
It just grew on me, and I realized how good I was. So I ended up quitting baseball because of it.
What led to you not going to UCLA then?
So that's when they fired Toledo and hired Darrell, and Darrell kind of brought in all his own recruits, and
right.
I was at that point where it wasn't a fit for me anymore, and I decided to go to junior college. Ended up playing in a baseball tournament with a bunch of my buddies and absolutely raking. And
rake, yeah. Well, Dan's still learning the words here.
I'm figuring it out as we go. So raking is a good hit.
Raking is good.
Good hitting.
Raking is good. As Barnesy and I know.
So there's a lot of red on his chart.
Oh no, a lot of people raked off of me would be a good way to use it. And a guy like this ended up raking, which ended up getting him in the big leagues.
So you went back to your first love.
Yeah, I ended up going back to my first love. But football was that's what I thought I was going to do the rest of my life. I thought I was going to play in the NFL and get after it.
Yeah. With our, Ryan Reed, who was just on too. I know Dan's trying to push a theme here. It's like the guys that like to play football end up get to the big leagues. Guy that played soccer.
Just simply, we're 2 for 2. I'm just simply stating
there's
a pattern developing, and it may not be true, but we'll find out.
I want to go back. I think it was 2007, Barnesy. Now, by the way, like this is the type of fraternity being on teams is. Like, I mean, we haven't talked in person in a long time, right? And we can chum it up like you were just on the bus with a guy the other day. Yeah. That's kind of how you know that. And I want to go back. I think it was 2007 spring training. It might have been 2008. You and I are standing in the outfield. Do you remember this vividly?
It had to be 7, man. Because 8 wasn't. At 7, I was still like. I wasn't a good baseball player.
But we were standing in the outfield. I remember this, talking to you. Now, in spring training, you got a lot of things going on, right, Dan? Like a pitcher's supposed to be out there running. He's out there probably getting some outfield work in. There's a lot of stuff going on. So we're sitting there, and I'm going, I think this might be the end of the road. I might have to go to the brain power. Like I'm not feeling well. And he's saying the same thing. And here we are 12 years later. 13 years later, whatever year it was, right? You just retired. 2 days ago, you retired. So first of all, congrats on that. That's
congratulations.
Huge.
Thank you.
Right? What was the difference there? Because I was done a year after that, basically, maybe a year and a half after that, and you just like skyrocketed, man. You were. That was when you kind of started to ramp it up and make your debut. And we'll hit the debut story in a second, but. What was the mentality there? You felt like you were in the same path, like maybe this was it, and then just a switch, hit, and you went off.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I was still maturing in the game. I had taken a couple years off to concentrate on football, and baseball's cutthroat, man, especially in the professional, minor leagues, and trying to get to the big leagues. It's cutthroat, man. You either play well or you get sent home. And so. I told my wife, I was like, hey, I'm thinking about quitting, going back and playing football. And she's like, nah, like we've done this for 3 years now. Like just stick it out. If you get released, you get released, whatever. You can always go back to junior college or whatever. So, I said, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to, give everything I have, just like I did in everything I've ever done sports wise. And so I just took the mentality of like, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to worry because I think I was worrying about how everybody wanted me to do it. Mm-hmm. I think that's what gets people in trouble is like, hey, you got to hit this way or you got to field this way. And I was like, I'm just going to let my inner athlete come out and just play the game. And I think when I started doing that, I started progressing more. I started learning more of the mental side of hitting, which is, most of hitting is more mental than physical.
Besides talking to your wife, which is ultimately the most important conversation and the most important advice that you're going to get, and whether you can come home or not, was there a coach or something like that really, hey, this is how it's done, this is what you need to look for, really helped you improve in the hitting to get to that next level?
Yeah, but that wasn't until later on, honestly. Like I was still figuring out hitting until I was like 27, 28 years old, still trying to like piece things together. And I think mainly it was more of just like my athletic ability taking over, using my hand-eye coordination. I still couldn't hit a slider till I was like 31 years old. So it was more of just trying to find a way to lay off the slider and hit the fastball because I was good at hitting the fastball.
And you were always an animal in the field. Like he was an animal in the field, diving around, making great plays. You had a cannon, you still do, I guess, right? You played for a long time. So how does the body feel? You're also an animal in the gym, right? Yeah. So, you're probably actually feeling pretty good. But how you just played how many years, Barnesy? Like 15, right?
16 seasons, yeah.
16. Jeez. So like how you're a young guy still, how do you feel? Because I know how Dan feels, with the ankles and the knees. And
I know how I felt when I was 300 pounds.
He's slimming down. That's true.
But
how do you feel now, just in terms of, how do you, like your body, your joints, and like, do you feel like you've got a good long life of running around still left, getting in the gym, that type of stuff?
Yeah, man. The knees are obviously the ones that bark every day, from overtime, just running on them, sliding, diving. Playing football for 10 years, did a little toll on them. It's just the knees, really, a little bit of the back here and there when I wake up in the morning. But, I think I did a really good job of preparing my body every day to go to war, whether that was, warming up before I went into the gym, or, my recovery post workout or post game. I took pride in that stuff because I knew that's what my longevity would be through is my routine and my preparation. But yeah, man, I think it's more my mind that took a toll on things. Just the mental grind of baseball was brutal. And not being the best hitter, for the first 10 years of my career was tough. So I'm just thankful that I got to play 16 years, because I thought I was done, after year 3. So
when we were in the outfield, outfield that day, I remember.
There's probably 2 or 3 other times that I wanted to quit through the course of my career. Before I even got to the big leagues, there was actually a time right before I got to the big leagues that I wanted to quit. But it was all preparation, man, and I'm still hitting the gym every day. So
How hard is the grind of Major League Baseball? I mean, it's completely different from football in general, right? You practice all week, you play once on Sunday or Saturday or Friday, whatever it is. But baseball is like, all right, let's play a game here on Monday night or Tuesday night, and then you're going to go travel to another city, and we're going to play another game, and you play 4 or 5 games a week. There's not a lot of practice; it's just BP, and then you play again. So, how hard is that travel and that schedule, and putting back-to-back games in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, Major League travel was cake, man.
Yeah,
it's so compared to mine. You don't have that.
No, time out here. He's heard my stories about, and you've been there too, right? 16-hour bus ride in Corpus Christi, man. You go from Northwest Arkansas.
It's a lovely drive. That's a lovely drive.
No, where we would
leave. View.
This will be a story sometime, but Barnsley's been there. I've pitched the next day, right, Barnsley, where we've rode the bus at night and got back at 11 in the morning. And we have a 7 o'clock game, and I'm on the mound. I just rode a bus for 14 hours. So he's got it. The goal is to get there, so you take a plane, right? and that's a little bit easier, but still, Dan probably doesn't know how many games there are. He's got an idea. It's 10x the games. It's 162 games compared to, yours, but big physical toll.
He played football, so he understands a practice is kind of maybe more of a physical toll football practice-wise than a baseball game.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
But even when you get to the major league level, they're gone for, 2 weeks at a time away from your family? Mentally, how is that? How do you handle that?
Yeah, man, my wife's a stud, man. I don't know how she did it for so many years. I have three daughters, and we just had our third one here about, about 9 weeks ago. I was still in Korea.
Oh, congrats.
But dude, having her support through it was what kind of made the mental side a lot easier. Right. I just had to go to work and do my thing. But, being away from the family for, 12 days at a time and coming home for maybe 3 or 4, then hitting the road again. Or, the last couple of years of my career, I had to be gone because the kids are in school. It's a mental toll. And then you add in just having to prepare for the game nowadays with the analytics, who you're facing, who's going to come in from the bullpen. It's your mind is constantly racing all day. I always tell myself, I got so locked in that at night when it was quiet and I tried to sleep, that's when it got really loud.
Right.
For me. So I would have some sleep issues, but it was just a grind every single day, but you just get through it because it's what you love, and you do it because you love it.
Mm-hmm. Now, in the off season, you're in California. So as I got drafted in this year, I hadn't met. I've been on the East Coast. I'm from Maine originally, right?
Which he probably didn't even know where Maine was.
No, he probably didn't know where Maine was. This is one of the first California guys, that I probably met where I'm I don't understand the shoe wear or the sock thing.
I don't get you.
I don't understand you yet. So that was a big culture shock for me.
Do you have a golf shirt? Can you put on a golf shirt?
No, these guys don't know. I was I'm not sure the style. I get it, but this is a different. We're in the same country, but we are on opposite sides of the country, right? So now, off season, you have always been in California. Is that?
Yeah, man. I've always lived. I was born and raised in Anaheim. Never left. We've thought about moving lately, but we'll see where it goes.
Got it. Got it. Now, you mentioned Korea too. So run us through that real quick, because when we talked to, Ryan the other day, we talked about playing in Venezuela, like in the off season. You actually just came back from a full season overseas, not just going to, south and playing like in the off season, but playing a full season in what's the name of the actual league?
It's a little bit further.
So it's the KBO. It's the Korean Baseball.
Okay.
I don't know what the O stands for, to be honest.
Organization, maybe?
I'm guessing
Organization, yeah.
Could be
Hey,
anything.
KBO was very famous at the start of COVID. They were the first ones back, right?
That's true.
It was the only thing on ESPN.
They were the first sports league back this COVID
That's
break
true.
or whatever. It was a crazy story, man. I was with the Reds in spring training, signed a minor league deal. I wanted to play another year, possibly maybe get back up to the big leagues one year, one last chance. And I got there and then COVID hit, man. And it was like, we've got this thing going on. We might shut down camp. And we're like, someone's gonna shut down baseball? Like it's crazy. So
yeah, it's right when it was starting. It was right when probably you were reporting, like right in that time, right? Yeah. You'd been there for a little bit probably, and then it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there for like 3 weeks because I show up early wherever I go. So I was there, probably about a month, and it hit. They're like, hey, we're sending everybody home. You can either stay here and continue to work out at the facility. You have to go straight back to your hotel room or your apartment, and then report back and forth. And I was like, my kids are home from school now. My wife's doing everything by herself. Like I was like, I'm going home.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I went home, and my wife's pregnant. The kids are doing online schooling. We have no idea what's going on in the world right now, and I'm just thinking like, okay, I think I'm done now. Like I'm probably gonna get released because there's not going to be a minor league season, and it came to that point where I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to retire. Like I'm just going to figure out what I'm going to do next here while we have quarantine and whatever's going on. And then I get a call about, what was it? About two and a half months into the KBO season, I get a call from a friend of mine who works for an agency. He's like, hey man, you interested to go to Korea? I was like, yeah, I've always wanted to go over there and end my career there. I think I'd be great. I've got the personality that I think the fans would love it. So they kind of put it into works. My agent worked with them. We went back and forth the Asian culture, man, they're going to work you in contract negotiations. So it went back and forth for a while, and got a chance to go over there, man. I was super excited and took that 13-hour flight, had to quarantine for 2 weeks in a house up in the mountains away from everybody. And then finally got a chance to play, and I was stoked because I was one of the only Americans getting to play baseball at that time. So it was a special time. It was awesome to get the opportunity to play.
Were there fans?
So right when I got there wasn't, and then like 2 weeks in, they're like, all right, we're gonna do 25% capacity. So they did 25%. It was louder than an MLB game. And then they had an uptick. They had like a spike of COVID cases, which was like 60 people. And they shut it down real quick. And then towards the end, they had like 30% capacity right before playoffs.
How was it playing without fans? Because we've talked about this off the air and had different conversations, and you've actually played without fans and with fans. What was the difference to you without the fans? Did it affect your play? Did it affect anybody else's play? The momentum,
preparation,
anything?
Yeah, I mean, it was not really preparation or anything like that, because I prepare the same every day for the last 10 years. But I feed off energy. I need energy. It's just something that is within me. Like that's how I play. I use the fans as like fuel. And so that was tough. Like you go out there and it's crickets, right? And, I get a big hit. And it's just
don't make noise.
Yeah, the cardboard cutouts don't talk to you. Yeah, I mean, some players might say that they do, but they weren't talking to you.
Yeah, I wasn't working for me at first, and I was struggling because I didn't play for 9 months. Went straight into it. I was like, I've been doing this for so long, I'm just gonna go straight into it. So it was tough. I didn't have that energy, that extra little oomph from the fans. And I just had to dig deep, honestly, and tell myself, like, I'm playing for my family. And then I ended up kind of changing the way that team was not run, but the way the clubhouse was there. It was very like laid back, but quiet. Nobody ever talked and played music and stuff like that. So I went in there and I started playing music every day just for my own sanity. And to kind of get some team morale up. I mean, we were dead last by like 20 games, man.
You were like Tom Selleck, Mr. Baseball. You know the movie?
It's a great movie.
Just in Korea. Great movie.
Especially when he goes up to the mountains of quarantine. Take the shoes off before you get into the house.
That was your role there. You were
living in the manager's house or whatever.
Crazy American coming in, just getting ready to go. Listen to we talked about the music thing a little bit.
Yeah, the music. But he said, you feed off the energy. And I YouTubed you, and the one video was the inside the park home run versus San Francisco when you were with Colorado. And, I know. When you came in, you slid head first into the plate and got up. Was that one of the moments in your career just like that's going to last forever?
Yeah, I mean, because it was that was Father's Day weekend, and my dad was there. My family was up there at the time, and it was a game-winning inside the park home run that like never happens, right? That never happens.
There's probably like two people that have done it.
Inside the park home run for the cycle. Or no, that was
that
wasn't for the cycle. That was inside the park home run.
You mentioned the cycle. I'm just talking about
that wasn't for the cycle.
This is Father's Day. This is special.
That was inside the park home run. I mean,
to win the game. How many people
the
have
inside
done
the park was when I was with Houston, or not? Sorry, the inside the park was I was with Colorado.
Yep.
And San Francisco is their fan. It's electric in that place, man. It's one of my favorite places to play just because of how crazy the fans are and how quiet I made them. My career.
Oh, that's good. That's a good memory. That's a fantastic. Good career memory. Absolutely.
It was just like I remember looking up after I did it, and like fans' jaws are just dropped to the floor. They just lost a 3-run lead because of it. I was like, dude, this is amazing. This is an amazing moment. And then just like to get that going to the dugout and just like everybody's like fist pumping and screaming and yelling at you. I was like, dude, this is what I live for.
Yep. You're an energy guy. I like that. Hey, toughest guy you ever faced in terms of a pitcher? We like to ask a couple hard-hitting questions here, but toughest guy.
Dude, it's a toss-up between Kershaw and Yu Darvish. They both have my number.
Yep. That's actually the segment name is like who's got your number, basically, right?
That's the batting average against them, not good.
Yeah, I'm like 2 for like 25 or something like that off Kershaw, and like 1 for like 8 or 9 off of Yu. But I do have Yu's in the book though. That one hit is a homer.
You know what the book is, Dan? Tell them what the book is.
Is that a home run?
Tell them what the book is, Barnesy.
The book. It's your list, man. You keep a nice little book.
Yep.
Of the guys that you shot into the stands. So,
there you go. These terms, he's got no clue what these terms are, but I love it.
I wish I kept a book during my career.
Yeah, a pancake block book or something like that.
I kept the book when I played football too, man. Every guy you smoked, you knew every time he was coming across the middle, he was looking both ways.
Yep, that's it.
Hey, what about those guys that come back at you? Anybody come back, like you smoke him before, you rake him. You put him in your book. Did anybody ever come back and put you in their book?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm a career like 100 punch out guy. Like I strike out 100 times, like no big deal. So I'm sure, dude, everybody struck me out at some point in a 16-year career. So I mean, I was like, whatever, man.
You might be in everybody's book.
I want the intentional beam. Who threw at you intentionally?
He's talking about throwing at you.
Who
does
not like you?
I didn't have any in the big leagues where I thought I got like actually thrown at. There's been a few times in the minor leagues where, I played the same way in the big leagues I did in the minor leagues, and some people didn't appreciate that just because I counted as war. I'm trying to beat you that day. So, towards as I got older, I started getting more aggressive and more vocal, I'd say, just because I felt like I was older and more better.
You've been there. You earned it.
But I remember there's a couple times where I hit a home run and maybe took my time or flipped it a little bit. And
Took your time. I like
they
it.
Didn't appreciate it. One thing I was really good at is dodging the ball. So like I could limbo and I could jump and I can get out of the way pretty quick. So and I always had a feeling I knew when it was coming. But say Venezuela was probably the one where I knew I was getting thrown at, because it was a slider first pitch away in the dirt, and I was like, here it comes. And these guys are crazy, man. They threw it at my head, so we ended up getting after it. But yeah, it was fun.
Did you ever put tip in the book?
Ooh.
I don't even remember facing you in
Who would
spring
win?
training.
Well, because
Really?
I threw it right by you most of the time. No,
Well, I
no,
mean,
or-
back then, I probably didn't have anybody in the book back then.
Yeah, he was nice easy out then. That's why we were in the outfield talking about retiring 10, 15 years ago.
I mean, that was like, I might have had
What are you
like
doing
a
tomorrow?
sticky note. I might have had a sticky note with
Yeah, sticky note.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
God.
Exactly.
I thought they just took your jersey,
Yeah, well,
took your
that's
uniform out.
Hey, what are you doing now? You've got a clothing
got
line now.
retired.
We're apparel guys, here with Squad Locker and everything that we do. You've got a clothing line, a little more lifestyle brand, right? That's your style.
Yeah.
Tell us about it a little bit.
Yeah, man. So about a year ago, being out in California, it's all about lifestyle and, the next swag or who's got the coolest stuff. And for me, it was based off my faith and how I kind of want to perceive my life. And, I think if anybody's ever watched my career, I've been really bold in that aspect. And I kind of take it with my clothing. I want to be bold in my faith and be able to rep my faith. And I want it to be a conversation starter. So I started Blessed Lifestyle probably about a year ago, and it's transformed more into being bold about your faith. And, it's cool. It's fun. It's, it's not a moneymaker right now. I'm doing it because, I love it. I enjoy creating. I kind of count myself as a little bit of an artist. So I enjoy the creation of it and being able to use it as an altar.
Got it. Last,
I can't wait to go get some stuff.
we'll go check it out.
Congratulations,
I like it.
man. That's a tremendous career, and the fact that, coming from a retired person as well, after a certain, there's a point where you just, you got to figure out what you want to do next. And the fact that you got that's more power to you. So congratulations.
Yeah, big time career, man. We appreciate it, and thanks for coming up. Well, last thing though, we got to ask him what color Gatorade, Barnesy? What color Gatorade's your favorite color Gatorade?
What color Gatorade, huh?
This is a big question. We've been asking everybody this.
Man,
Come on.
I mean, if I'm going,
I'm praying right now you say the right thing.
I mean, if I'm going like straight, like right during a game, like I'm gonna go red Gatorade because I want stains all over my jersey.
It's unbelievable. I can't. I would have thought red was like what all the crazy guys want. Like it's okay. All right, we'll take it.
Yes.
We'll take the answer. Our producer Max is
classic.
keeping the tally on it. Red is red hot right now.
Red's the best.
It's
Thank
red
you.
hot. I'm a yellow guy all day, but
See,
red is red hot.
Red is
Yellow
that's why
might
he
be the
made
worst.
it. That's why he got the call. That's
right.
why
all
he
the
got
guys
the
that like
call.
the red got the call. Barnesy, thanks.
Yellow
man.
might be the worst, by the way, man. Yellow might be the worst flavor ever.
It's a good taste.
Kind of, I mean,
Thanks for coming on, buddy. Huge career. Like, congrats. And now you're past. I mean, you're past your playing prime now. Like, so past our prime, but you're just getting in the beginning of your life here, right? So
join the club.
Yep.
Bunch of has been and never was.
Has been and never was. Appreciate you being on, buddy.
All right,
Thanks a
thanks,
lot.
Guys, appreciate
All right.
it.
Past Our Prime is brought to you by Squad Locker. Squad Locker is your one-stop shop for custom team apparel, delivered right to your front door. Learn more by visiting squadlocker.com.